How's it going? Do you live here?
What's going on?
Do you live here?
Why you ask, what's going on?
Sit down. Sit. Sit.
Sir.
Can you sit down? I'll talk to you.
Okay,
Stop.
no, come
Sit.
on now.
Sit.
Come on now.
Sit.
Don't do this.
Just sit down.
Why you asking me, do
Sit
I
down.
live here?
Do you live here? Yes or no?
What's going on, though? Who?
Charlie 777.
Nah, back up.
Stop.
Man.
Stop. Stop. Stop, man.
Did you feel as though you were free to walk away?
No, I knew I wasn't, because the only way to walk away was basically like go through him or go some way around him.
Can you go a little further?
Come on now. Come on now. Don't do this. Sit down. Why you asking me, do I live?
All right. And if you were unable to, in your mind, leave when there was one hand on your shoulder, how did you feel when the second hand was placed on the other shoulder?
If further my fear of what might take place between me and the individual at the time. If you look, he's holding my shoulder, like pushing me, basically pushing me, and then he shifted me back towards the way, which would kind of fought to the seat. I was sitting directly on the driver's seat.
All right, peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. And what you're about to hear is the testimony with Othal Wallace explaining why and how he felt he had to kill Officer Jason Raynor in self-defense. Now, we've been given some information on this trial and this case, the incident happened in June of 2021. Othal Wallace, the man that you just see in the testimony stand, is accused of killing Officer Jason Raynor that night when Jason Raynor attempted to accost him. And he was eventually convicted in October of 2023. He was given 30 years for manslaughter. Now, I've been bringing attention to this case because he is currently fighting appeals and trying to get back in court to get his sentence either commuted or reduced. Now, we've sold some film of Jason Raynor being very aggressive to other citizens. And so that's why many people feel that Othal Wallace was indeed within his rights. But without me telling you, I'm going to let Othal Wallace tell you why and how he felt that he had to kill Officer Jason Raynor during that fateful night. Stay tuned. Scripture says all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They become disenchanted. They become disillusioned. They become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today more explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians can ever invent.
Make sure you speak loud and clear so the viewers hear what you have to say. You may proceed.
Good morning. Could you introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Othal Wallace.
And Othal, where did you grow up?
I was born in Gainesville. Later, I moved to the Daytona Beach, Volusia County. Then I stayed in the land for a while and moved to Broward County. Then I moved back to Daytona.
Okay, right here's a good stop. At this point here, you testified earlier that the light was in your eye.
Yes.
What's going on right here?
Well, right in this particular situation is when I noticed the light, and I'm a little confused. Like I said, I'm not used to people coming up to me at this time of night, and I was kind of just like caught off guard and a bit like shaking up. So I'm starting to become aware of this presence is garnering some type of emotion that would make me feel kind of scared. Like I was like,
Can we go to the point where the door is open? Okay, at this point right here, explain, I guess, where you are in relation to Mr. Raynor, because obviously we can't see him.
Okay, well, just imagine like the hood of the car and the door in the driver's seat. At this point, I had just stood up. So when you get out of the car, you automatically turn sideways. It's like a normal motion. So as I'm getting up, I'm turning sideways. And he's basically right here. And that's when you can see his arm on my shoulder. And my hand, like, when I'm getting out of the car, my phone was on my lap, so it's kind of sliding down. And I'm always aware that I crack many phones by just standing up. So I always like kind of grab whatever's in my lap. And that's what I was doing. And in the picture, that's how I checked my phone a little.
And you said that his hand was on it. Was that just a soft touch, or was it a forceful touch, or what was going on?
This initial touch is what stopped my first effort to walk away. This is the first. If you see, right, okay, I can't really see. The screen is big. Can I take a step?
Yes.
Okay, so the screen is kind of big. So at this point, you can see. If you go back, you can see where my shoulders shifts. So I can't. Now I realize I don't have my freedom to walk away right here.
And that,
Sir, can you sit down?
that's what I was going to ask you. At that point, did you feel as though you were free to walk away?
No, I knew I wasn't, because the only way to walk away was basically like go through him or go some way around him.
Can you go a little further?
Come on now, sir, come on now. Don't do this. Sit down. Why are you asking me to do all that?
All right.
Okay, wait, we can't talk if the video is playing. And we can't both talk at the same time, okay? Only one thing at a time.
Let me ask the question. Go back just a little ways. Right there. All right. And if you were unable to, in your mind, leave when there was one hand on your shoulder, how did you feel when the second hand was placed on your other shoulder?
If further my fear of what might take place between me and the individual at the time. If you look, he's holding my shoulder, like pushing me, basically pushing me, and then he shifted me back towards the way, which would, I mean, if I took a seat, I would sit directly on the driver's seat. So that's kind of what's taking place in this training.
Tell me, do I live here?
Do you live here? Yes or no?
What's going on though? No, back up.
Now, at that point, you hear him radio, you go to his radio, takes his left arm off you, and that's when you bring up your left forearm. And why at that point did you make a more concerted effort to leave?
Because for various amount of reasons, I hadn't had any answers to any of my questions. I'm scared as I can possibly be. There's no witnesses, so now I'm thinking that he's gonna call somebody else. So I don't know. I didn't do anything. I wasn't, breaking the laws. I had just been sitting there minding my business. So now it seems like there's about to be more people to come assist him with whatever he's gonna do to me, and I don't know what's going on. Nobody has answered any of my questions. I'm 10 feet away from going into my apartment. I don't know what's going on. So that was my effort to be like, okay, now I have to become a little more assertive in my effort to walk away. And that's when I held my forearm out. Just kind of try to make more space.
Go up till it gets dark, so you can't see.
Stop.
Okay, now at this point, you really can't see what's going on from the video, right? How close were you and Jason Raynor at that point?
We was just about chest to chest, because he was pulling me towards him, and like we was kind of shifting and like kind of spinning around. It was if you grab somebody and you have a locked grip on them, and you kind of shifting around. The space is so small, like there's nowhere really for us to go, so we just about chest to chest.
Did you continue to try to get away from him?
I was pulling away as I'm like trying. I'm not And like, I'm not trying to get any closer. I'm pulling away the whole time. I'm trying to like pull away, but he got me by both hands just about, and that's how I'm like so close to him.
And that I was gonna ask, did he still have you with both of his hands?
Yeah, at some point, but then
And then at some point, were you able to get away from would be his right hand?
yes, I was.
And how did that happen?
Well, he like either lost. I'm not sure if he lost grip or just moved his hand. But when his hand did move, so like imagine this is my shoulder and like it's a pulling motion. So when his hand did move, he started to like make movements towards his waistband, and I was starting to look and try to like.
Let's go back a little. As you were trying to walk away just before it gets dark, where did he have a hold of you?
On my shoulder and my arm.
And when you say shoulder, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but now at this point, his hand is on my shoulder, but his grip is on my shirt, at the shoulder portion of my shirt. That's what
Was he pulling on your shirt?
yes. Now in this frame, if I would have been able to walk away, it would have been like a motion like this. Like I can't really do it because I got a suit on, but it would have been more of a yoking type of motion. It would have been more, my head would have like been taken back by that motion.
Now, when we get forward again where it's dark, once he was released, when his right arm let go of you, what maneuver or what motion did you make at that point to try to get away?
So his right arm came off of me, but this is my shoulder. So if you reverse this position, it would it would be like this. So when he dropped his right arm, I kind of like tried to make an effort to duck under it, because if I could have got his right arm to go over my head, I would have been able to put him behind me, and then I would have created like that space of freedom to get away from him or whatever was going on.
And then did you notice anything when you ducked down to go under his arm?
Right. When I ducked down, he kind of like shimmied his elbow and was making a reaching motion towards his waistband. And that's, at that point, I was like, something, this is not going to go right for me. And I started like basically, like, there was a deep sense of fear that my most, the thing that I feared the most is probably going to happen to me right there.
So how, you said you saw his hand go towards his waistband?
Yes.
All right, and in response to that and your fear, what did you do?
That's when I like made an effort to get around, but when he moved, he still had, I can't really do it without extra body, but it's hard to. So his arm is on me, right? And I'm trying to get under it. Imagine this arm is on me. I'm trying to get under it. But his elbow goes like this, so I can't. But when I'm doing it, his right arm is making that motion. When he makes that motion, that's when I drew my right arm, and I couldn't get under his arm, and I kind of ducked. When I ducked and I fired, the gun went off at like right at my ear, and that's when like he was in like a moving type of motion, and he fell backwards, and I like stumbled back as he lost his grip on my shoulder.
All right, and then.
Stop, man.
Okay, and you hear you say something at the end. Do you recall what you said?
I was in like a state of adrenaline, so I was basically like I think I said something like it or something like that.
Okay. All right, you can sit back then. Yeah. We'll go back. You back through? Yeah. Now, we've all seen those Instagram posts that came out in early June. Were they a part of your Instagram account?
Yes, it was.
And there's the one that references pig's blood. And you make reference to Minnie. What was that in response to?
The pig's blood statement was this probably the stupidest decision I ever could have made when it comes to me venting to the things I was frustrated about. But at the time, there was a lot going on in our country. People, was getting killed, and it was unfortunate. Lots of unfortunate situations taking place. And I'm not sure if many of the jurors are familiar with social media, but I'm kind of one of those people that wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to expressing myself on the internet. So a lot of times I get on there and just say stuff like meaninglessly, or just I'm one of those people that's quick to make comments about things. Whether it's true or not, I just cast my opinion. So that was kind of basically what was going on. But it was just a reflection of, what I was feeling and going through at the moment about what was taking place all over the country with these unfortunate incidents.
Can I get you to stop there? Disengage the computer from the screens. Proceed.
What about the post with regarding Johnny Bolton? What was this about?
The situation with Johnny Bolton is a guy that was killed by a SWAT team in Cobb County, Georgia. No, not warrant. And I felt really bad for the incident that took place. And again, like I say, I made a bunch of comments online about things taking place in the country. And that was one of those comments that I had made just out of frustration for what took place. I was feeling, much compassion and sentiment that his family was expressing online. And I was just saying stuff, just making my frustrations known in whatever way.
Were these posts in any way a manifesto for you? Like, this is what I'm going to carry out. This is what I'm going to do.
No, it was just things I said out of frustration, because I'm just overly expressive sometimes.
If you could, would you have deleted those posts?
Yeah, but unfortunately I couldn't. I wasn't able to delete them. I do that often when I regret saying things or realize how stupid it was. I just delete it. It happens.
Was it ever your desire to have a run-in with law enforcement?
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, and again, you kind of explained, but what were these posts? Why were they there?
Like I say, there's a lot of content on my IG page. And I'm one of those people, like I said, I'm very expressive or overly expressive, and I get upset or whatever. So sometimes I vent about things online, go to Instagram. I'm one of those people that make comments on YouTube, and whether you could call it trolling or not, or just an overly expressive person. But I'm kind of one of those people. So you'll find if you knew me or was on Instagram, it's my life, somebody else's life, or neighbors. I'm always just kind of just talking about things, just expressing my opinion, just whether it's relevant or whether anybody can connect with it. I just do it. That's just something I do when I'm in my leisure time on social media. So I noticed I have a few young jurors, but I'm not sure if y'all use social media or understand the use of it. But a lot of people tend to get online and just freely express themselves, whether it's relevant, whether people can connect. It's just something.
Sustained.
Sorry.
You're good. Later on, after this incident, there was an audio post. When was that posted?
Later on, as in?
On June 23rd of 2021.
The post after the situation?
Yes.
Well, there was an audio recording, and I was just, again, being overly expressive about my frustration at the situation I had just found myself in, and I was just frustrated, and I was really in a state of panic, and I was kind of still in that adrenaline state where I thought that this is over with. There's no way in the world that I'm gonna get my last message out, because I was driving and I was expecting something to happen, like a pit maneuver or my car to be, stopped and shot up or something like that. So it was kind of a last ditch effort to get the message to anybody that was on my social media.
Okay. That night, were you hoping or were you trying to make those posts a reality?
No, I was just sitting in my car.
Why did you pull your firearm?
Because in the moment, I felt in that moment, there was no other way I can get out of this situation. I'm in a situation where I don't know what's going on. And I tried my hardest and I gave a genuine effort to try to gain an understanding. And I said, what's going on? And after I realized there's a situation outside of my control, I just did what I could to survive the encounter because I didn't know, how it was going to end for me after I realized, him going for his waistband.
How certain were you that you had to react the way you did?
There was nothing else I could do. I was backed in the corner. I tried to leave. I tried my hardest to get an understanding. I seen him reaching for his, waistband where I know that there's, multiple amounts of weapons that could be used to cause, me harm or death. And being in this situation, I'm not sure how people, how other people would react. But in my perception, I felt that this was the only option I have after I had tried everything else. There was no other effort that I could have put into walking away safely. And that was the best thing I could have did to preserve, my being.
All right. So there you hear the testimony of Othal Wallace and a little bit of the cross-examination from the prosecutor. As I mentioned before, ultimately, Othal Wallace was convicted of the murder of Jason Raynor. He was convicted of manslaughter, which only carries a sentence of 10 years, but they gave him aggravated manslaughter by the use of the firearm. And one factor in that is because the judge kept stressing the use of the firearm. And you can actually notice the disposition of the judge. You can see that it looks like, in my opinion, he was not in favor of Othal Wallace. You can even see where, he, interrupted his lawyer and saying, okay, don't talk at the same time the video was playing. Now, it's obvious to me that Othal Wallace was very nervous, and I can understand why. He's on the trial for his life, and he's trying to explain in real time what happened in 30 seconds, which I'm probably sure to him it felt like, 1 second that everything took place. And, you can tell he was visibly nervous trying to get his word out. But I think he did an excellent job. And on the cross-examination, they focus on his social media. One of the posts said he feels like that one day he is going to get pig's blood on his hand. And he did a, wonderful job of explaining that due to the frustrations of that time. Remember, that time was 2021. You got George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, so on and so forth. So, a lot of people were expressing their frustrations in that regard, through social media or, through other avenues. But, our brother, once again, was convicted, I think, once again, of manslaughter, which only should have carried 10 years, but the judge gave that aggravated factor. So the reason, once again, I am bringing light into this case because of all the recent police shootings that we have had. And, people always wondered, okay, what if it went the other way? And this is the case that it went the other way. Our brother Othal Wallace expressed this fear for his life. He articulated it very well why he felt scared. And his excuse was not accepted. But anytime that an officer shoots an unarmed black man, whether they're armed, running away, what have you, falling down, whether they have a cell phone, candy bar, some iPhones, some iPads, whatever, the officer's fear is always justified and they always get off. So I just want to show the difference and disparity. Once again, if you do want to find out more information, you can go to othal.org. That's www.othal.org, where you can find out more about the case and even donate to his legal defense fund. But, as always, thank y'all for watching, liking, sharing the video, and also subscribing as well. Thank you for all the calls, texts, emails, the cash apps, and stories that you send. But most of all, once again, peace and blessings.